I was standing in Dr. Mitchell's office when I said it. My mother-in-law, Patricia, had arrived 15 minutes after the orthodontist called me, convinced she could smooth everything over in person. She wore her usual uniform, cream cardigan, pearl earrings, that expression of someone who's never been told no. Dr. Mitchell stood behind his desk, clearly uncomfortable. My daughter Emma sat in the waiting room, headphones on, unaware that her grandmother had just tried to sabotage 3 years of orthodontic work. Patricia opened her mouth to speak. I raised one finger. She has no authority over my daughter's medical care, I said to Dr. Mitchell. And by the way, I have recordings of every conversation where she's undermined my parenting decisions. That's when her face went pale. She actually stumbled backward, catching herself on the doorframe. Her hand went to her throat. For the first time in 16 years, Patricia had nothing to say. Let me tell you how we got here. I met Patricia's son David in 2007. We married in 2009. Emma was born in 2011. From the beginning, Patricia made it clear that I wasn't what she'd envisioned for her son. I grew up in a working-class family in Ohio. My dad was a mechanic. My mom worked at the public library. Patricia came from old Connecticut money, the kind where you don't talk about having it, but everyone knows. She never said I wasn't good enough directly. She just had this way of asking questions. Do you know how to set a formal table? Have you been to the symphony? David tells me you're still working. How nice. When Emma was 2, we went to Patricia's house for Thanksgiving. I was working as a dental hygienist then, pulling in about $42,000 a year. David made $60,000 as an IT manager. We were fine. We weren't struggling. But at dinner, Patricia's sister Ellen asked what I did. I told her. Patricia smiled and said, well, someone has to clean teeth. Everyone laughed. David squeezed my hand under the table. I smiled back. I didn't say anything. But that night, I started researching dental practice management programs. The pattern continued. When Emma was 4, I enrolled her in a public preschool. Patricia asked if we'd considered Montessori. The right early education makes all the difference, she said. But I'm sure you're doing your best with what you can afford. I smiled. I'd already been accepted into a business administration program. I just hadn't told anyone yet. When Emma was 7, she needed braces. Severe overbite, crowding, the orthodontist said it would take 3 to 4 years. The estimate was $6,800. Patricia offered to pay. I know this must be difficult on your budget, she said. David started to accept. I said no thank you, we had it covered. Patricia's eyebrows went up. Pride is expensive, dear, she said. I paid the deposit that afternoon. $3,000 I'd saved from my second job doing bookkeeping for small businesses on weekends. That was 2018. By then, I'd started my own business. Nothing flashy. I helped dental practices manage their operations, optimize their billing, negotiate with insurance companies. I was good at it. Really good. I'd worked in enough dentist offices to know where the inefficiencies were. Within a year, I had 8 clients. Within 2 years, I had 23. I didn't tell David's family. I let them think I was still working as a hygienist. David knew, obviously. He helped with Emma when I traveled for consultations. But we agreed Patricia didn't need to know. The less she knew about our finances, the less she could use it as ammunition. By 2021, I was running a consulting firm with 42 dental practices under contract. I'd hired 2 associate consultants. Our revenue that year was $1.2 million. I paid myself a salary of $170,000. David and I were fine. We bought a house. Not in Patricia's neighborhood, but nice. We contributed to retirement accounts. Emma had a college fund with $65,000 in it. And still, Patricia treated me like I was one missed paycheck from disaster. In early 2022, Patricia announced at Sunday dinner that she wanted to help with Emma's orthodontic care. Emma had 2 years left at that point. I know these final years are the most expensive, Patricia said. Let me take over the payments. I said no thank you again. Patricia's expression tightened. I'm trying to help you, she said. I know things have been difficult. I didn't ask what she meant by difficult. I knew. She'd seen David driving our 7-year-old Honda. She'd noticed I still shopped at Target. In her world, those were signs of struggle. I smiled and said we were managing fine. Later that year, Patricia started calling Dr. Mitchell's office with questions about Emma's treatment. The receptionist mentioned it to me during a checkup. "Your mother-in-law called asking about the payment plan," she said. I told her we couldn't discuss it without your permission. I thanked her and made a mental note. Patricia was monitoring us, watching for cracks. There were close calls. In the summer of 2022, we ran into Patricia at a restaurant. David and I were meeting a potential client, a dentist who ran 4 practices in Connecticut. Patricia saw us across the room and came over. "Business dinner?" she asked, looking at the dentist. David introduced him as a friend. The dentist, bless him, played along. "We play basketball together," he said. Patricia smiled. "How nice that you have time for hobbies," she said to me. After she left, the dentist looked at me. "That was your mother-in-law," he said. "Good luck." I signed his practices 2 weeks later. Combined, they brought in $90,000 a year in consulting fees. Another time, in December 2022, Patricia stopped by unannounced while I was on a conference call with a practice in Boston. I was negotiating their insurance reimbursement rates, talking through a quarterly report. I saw her car pull up through the window. I muted myself, ran downstairs, met her at the door. "I was in the neighborhood," she said. "Thought I'd drop off Emma's Christmas present early." I thanked her, took the wrapped box, stood in the doorway. She tried to look past me. "Is everything all right?" she asked. "You seem rushed." I told her I was in the middle of organizing Emma's closet. She left. I went back upstairs and closed a $40,000 contract. But I had moments where I showed I wasn't just enduring. Small things. In November 2022, Patricia suggested I apply for a receptionist position at her dentist's office. "They're looking for someone," she said. I could put in a word. I thanked her. I called her dentist that afternoon and offered my consulting services. He became a client in January 2023. By early 2024, my firm was managing 67 practices across 3 states. I'd brought on 4 more consultants. We'd expanded into practice acquisition consulting, helping dentists buy and sell their businesses. Our revenue hit $2.8 million. I was paying myself $240,000 a year. Emma's college fund had $92,000 in it. We could have paid off our mortgage if we wanted. We didn't, because the interest rate was low and the money was better invested elsewhere. I bought a new car. Not a Mercedes or anything Patricia would notice. A reliable Toyota Highlander. I parked it in the garage when we visited her house. Patricia didn't know any of this. She thought I was still cleaning teeth. She thought we were scraping by. And I let her think it. Because every time she underestimated me, I got stronger. Every condescending comment was fuel. Every concerned question about our finances was proof that my strategy was working. Then came February 15, 2024. Patricia called me on a Thursday afternoon. Emma had 8 months left in her orthodontic treatment. We'd paid $6,200 of the $6,800 total. $600 left. Emma's teeth looked incredible. The overbite was corrected. The crowding was resolved. Dr. Mitchell said she was right on track for a spring removal. Patricia asked if we could talk. I said sure. She said she'd been praying about Emma's treatment. I waited. "I think we should stop," she said. I asked what she meant. "The braces," she said. "Emma's teeth look fine now. This obsession with perfect teeth, it's vanity. It's not biblical. I've been uncomfortable with it for a while, but I didn't want to interfere. But God has been pressing on my heart." I sat down. I asked if she was serious. "Completely," she said. "I've seen how stressed you and David have been about the cost. Emma's teeth are straight enough. She doesn't need Hollywood perfection. I think we should tell Dr. Mitchell to remove them now." I told her that wasn't her decision. "As her grandmother, I have a responsibility to speak up when I see something unhealthy," she said. "This pursuit of physical perfection, it's teaching Emma the wrong values." I told her no. We were finishing the treatment. She said she'd expected that response. "You've always been stubborn," she said. "But I'm going to pray that you reconsider." I said okay and hung up. I should have known she wouldn't let it go. The next morning, Friday, February 16th, Dr. Mitchell called me at 10:30. I need to verify something, he said. He sounded confused. I got a call this morning from Patricia Wright. She said she's Emma's grandmother and that she has medical power of attorney. She's requesting that we remove Emma's braces immediately. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. She said what? I asked. She doesn't have power of attorney. She has no authority over Emma's medical care whatsoever. Dr. Mitchell exhaled. I thought that was the case, he said. But she was very insistent. She said you and your husband were under financial strain and that continuing the treatment was putting undue stress on the family. She said she'd researched it and that Emma's teeth were sufficiently corrected. She wanted us to schedule a removal for next week. I asked what he told her. I told her I couldn't do anything without parental consent, he said. But she kept pushing. She said she was acting in Emma's best interest. She said she'd be willing to sign the paperwork herself. I closed my eyes. I asked if she'd said anything else. She mentioned something about vanity, Dr. Mitchell said. She said straight teeth were a form of vanity and that she didn't want Emma growing up with worldly values. To be honest, the whole conversation was uncomfortable. I told her I'd need to speak with you first. She said she'd come to the office this afternoon to discuss it in person. I looked at the clock. It was 10:35. I asked what time she was coming. 2 o'clock, he said. I told him I'd be there at 1:45. He asked if everything was okay. I said it would be. I hung up. I sat there for a full minute. Then I opened my laptop. I pulled up the folder I'd been keeping since 2019. Recordings, emails, text messages. Every time Patricia had undermined a parenting decision. Every time she'd overstepped. Every time she'd tried to control some aspect of Emma's life. I'd been documenting it for years. Not because I planned to use it, but because I knew eventually she'd push too far. I called my attorney. Her name was Jennifer Kwan. I'd worked with her on business contracts. I asked if she had time to talk. She did. I explained the situation. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, "Do you want to scare her or do you want to legally bar her from this kind of behavior?" I thought about it. Both, I said. She asked if I had documentation. I told her I had 5 years of it. "Send it to me," she said. "I'll draft a cease and desist letter. But honestly, if you confront her in person with a lawyer present, it might be more effective." I asked if she could meet me at the orthodontist's office at 1:45. She said yes. I thanked her and hung up. Then I called David. He was at work. I told him what happened. He went quiet. "She did what?" he asked. His voice was tight. "She called the orthodontist and tried to get Emma's braces removed without our permission," I said. "She told them she had medical power of attorney." David swore. "That's insane," he said. "What are you going to do?" I told him I was meeting her at the office. He said he'd leave work early. I told him he didn't need to. "Yeah, I do," he said. At 1:30, I picked up Emma from school. I told her we had an orthodontist appointment. She asked if something was wrong. I said no, just to check in. She put her headphones on in the car. I drove to Dr. Mitchell's office. Jennifer was already there, parked in the lot. She got out when she saw me. "I brought a copy of the cease and desist," she said. "And I reviewed the recordings you sent. This is a clear pattern of boundary violation. If she tries to argue, we have grounds for a restraining order." I nodded. We walked into the office. Dr. Mitchell met us in the lobby. He looked relieved to see me and confused to see Jennifer. I introduced her as my attorney. His eyes widened. "Is this really necessary?" he asked. I told him I hoped not, but I wanted to be prepared. He nodded slowly and led us to his office. Emma stayed in the waiting room with a dental assistant who gave her a tablet and headphones. At 1:58, Patricia arrived. She walked in wearing her cream cardigan and pearls. She saw me and smiled. "Oh good, you're here," she said. "I was hoping we could discuss this reasonably." Then she saw Jennifer. Her smile faltered. "Who's this?" she asked. Jennifer introduced herself. "I'm Mrs. Wright's attorney," she said. Patricia blinked. "Attorney? This is a family matter." Why would you need an attorney? I gestured to Dr. Mitchell's office. Let's talk inside, I said. Patricia followed us in, visibly confused now. Dr. Mitchell sat behind his desk. Jennifer and I sat in the two chairs facing him. Patricia remained standing. I don't understand what's happening, she said. I came here to help. I looked at her. You called Dr. Mitchell this morning and told him you have medical power of attorney over Emma, I said. You demanded that he remove her braces immediately, against our wishes, without our consent. Patricia's face flushed. I didn't demand anything, she said. I expressed concern. As Emma's grandmother, I have a right to. You have no rights regarding Emma's medical care, I said. None. You lied to a medical professional. You claimed authority you don't have. You attempted to interfere with a medical treatment plan that my husband and I are paying for and have consented to. Patricia's mouth opened. She looked at Dr. Mitchell. I was trying to save them money, she said. They've been struggling for years. I was trying to help. I felt something shift inside me. This was it. The moment I'd been avoiding for 16 years. I could stay quiet. I could let her keep thinking we were struggling. Or I could end this. I looked at Jennifer. She gave me a small nod. We're not struggling, I said. Patricia looked at me. What? She asked. We're not struggling financially, I said. We never have been. At least, not since 2018. Patricia frowned. I don't understand, she said. You work as a dental hygienist. David works in IT. I know what those jobs pay. I'm not judging, I'm just being realistic. I don't work as a dental hygienist, I said. I haven't since 2017. Patricia stared at me. What are you talking about? She asked. I pulled out my phone. I opened my company website. I turned it toward her. I run a dental practice consulting firm, I said. I started it in 2017. We manage 67 practices across 3 states. Last year, our revenue was $2.8 million. The room went silent. Patricia looked at the phone, then at me, then at the phone again. That's not possible, she said. Her voice was different now. Higher. Uncertain. You would have told us. I shook my head. No, I said. I wouldn't have. Because every time I achieved something, you found a way to minimize it. Every time I succeeded, you made it about what I was doing wrong. So I stopped telling you. Patricia's hand went to her pearls. This is ridiculous, she said. But her voice shook. You're making this up too. Jennifer reached into her briefcase. She pulled out a folder. These are tax returns, she said. Business filings. Bank statements. All voluntarily provided by my client to verify her claims. She slid the folder across the desk toward Patricia. Everything in there is legitimate and documented. Patricia didn't touch the folder. She looked at me. Why would you hide this? She asked. We're family. I leaned forward. You've spent 16 years treating me like I'm not good enough, I said. You've questioned my decisions. You've offered unsolicited financial help we didn't need. You've made assumptions about our lives based on the car I drive and the stores I shop at. And yesterday, when I told you no about Emma's braces, you decided you knew better than me about my own daughter's medical care. Patricia's face was pale now. She gripped the back of the chair. I was trying to help, she said again. It sounded hollow. You were trying to control, I said. And this, calling her orthodontist, lying about having authority, trying to cancel her treatment, this crossed a line. I nodded to Jennifer. She pulled out another document. This is a cease and desist letter, Jennifer said. It legally prohibits you from contacting any of Emma's medical providers without explicit written permission from her parents. If you violate it, we'll pursue a restraining order. Patricia looked at the letter like it was a snake. You're threatening me? She asked. I'm your family. David's voice came from the doorway. You try to sabotage our daughter's orthodontic treatment because you think you know better than us. He'd arrived while we were talking. He walked in and stood next to my chair. Mom, I love you, he said. But this has to stop. The comments. The assumptions. The interference. It stops now. Patricia looked at her son. For the first time, I saw something crack in her composure. Her eyes filled with tears. I raised you better than this, she said. I taught you to respect your mother. David's joy tightened. You taught me to respect people, he said. That includes my wife. And you've never respected her. Not once. Patricia turned to Dr. Mitchell, as if he could help her. He looked profoundly uncomfortable. Mrs. Wright, he said gently. I think it's best if we continue Emma's treatment as planned. Her parents are in agreement. The treatment is progressing well. There's no medical reason to stop. Patricia's shoulders dropped. She looked at the cease and desist letter. At the folder of financial documents. At me. I don't understand why you lied to me, she said quietly. I shook my head. I didn't lie, I said. I just didn't correct your assumptions. You assumed I was struggling. You assumed I needed help. You assumed I wasn't capable. I let you assume it because it was easier than fighting you every step of the way. Patricia's hand shook as she reached for the letter. She picked it up. Read it. Her lips pressed into a thin line. If this is what you want, she said. Her voice was cold now. Defensive. If you want to cut me out of Emma's life over a misunderstanding, this isn't about cutting you out, David said. This is about boundaries. You can be Emma's grandmother, but you can't make medical decisions for her. You can't interfere with our parenting. And you need to stop treating my wife like she's incompetent. Patricia folded the letter. Put it in her purse. She looked at me one more time. I hope you're happy, she said. Then she walked out. The door closed behind her with a soft click. Dr. Mitchell exhaled slowly. Well, he said. That was intense. Jennifer packed up her briefcase. Call me if she contacts you again, she said to Dr. Mitchell. Or any other medical provider. He nodded. Understood. David and I sat there for a moment. He reached over and took my hand. Are you okay? He asked. I nodded. I was shaking slightly, but I was okay. Emma's braces stay on? I asked Dr. Mitchell. He smiled. Absolutely, he said. 8 more months. She'll have a beautiful smile. We walked out to the waiting room. Emma looked up from the tablet. Are we done? She asked. I smiled. Yeah, honey, I said. We're done. She stood up and grabbed her backpack. As we walked to the car, she said, was Grandma Patricia here? I thought I saw her car. David and I exchanged a look. She stopped by, I said. But she had to leave. Emma shrugged. Okay, she said. She got in the car and put her headphones back on. That night, after Emma went to bed, David and I sat on the couch. He looked exhausted. I can't believe she did that, he said. I knew she was overbearing, but she thought she was helping, I said. David shook his head. No, he said. She thought she was right. There's a difference. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I'm sorry I didn't stand up to her more. All those years. All those comments. I squeezed his hand. You stood up today, I said. That's what matters. The cease and desist worked. Patricia didn't contact Dr. Mitchell again. She didn't call Emma's school. She didn't show up unannounced. For 3 weeks, we didn't hear from her at all. Then, on March 10th, she sent a text to David. It said, I'm sorry for overstepping. I want to be part of Emma's life. Can we talk? David showed me the text. I told him it was up to him. He called her the next day. They talked for 40 minutes. When he hung up, he said she'd cried. She'd said she never meant to hurt anyone. She'd said she was just trying to protect her granddaughter. David told her that protection looked like trust, not control. She'd said she understood. She'd asked if we could have dinner sometime. David said maybe, eventually. But not yet. Emma got her braces off on September 20th, 2024. Her teeth were perfect. Dr. Mitchell took photos for his office wall. Emma smiled so wide her eyes crinkled. We took her out for ice cream after. She ordered a sundae with extra caramel. I can actually chew gum now, she said. That's the best part. Patricia sent a card when she heard Emma's braces were off. It said, congratulations on your beautiful smile. I'm proud of you. Love, Grandma. There was a $50 bill inside. Emma put the card on her bulletin board and used the money to buy new art supplies. As for Patricia and me, we're cordial now. We see her at holidays. She asks Emma about school. She doesn't offer unsolicited advice. She doesn't make comments about our finances. At Thanksgiving last year, she asked what I did for work. I told her I ran a consulting firm. She nodded. That sounds successful, she said. It is, I said. She looked like she wanted to say more, but she didn't. She just nodded again and passed me the mashed potatoes. My business is still growing. We're on track to hit 3.5 million this year. I hired 2 more consultants. We're expanding into pediatric dental practices. Emma's college fund now has $112,000 in it. She wants to study architecture. We told her we'd support whatever she chooses. David and I bought a new house last summer. Bigger. Nicer neighborhood. Patricia came to the housewarming party. She walked through the rooms and said, "This is lovely." She didn't ask how we afforded it. I think she finally understands that she doesn't need to know everything. Emma asked me last month if Grandma Patricia was coming to her 13th birthday party. I said probably. Emma said okay and went back to planning her guest list. She didn't seem bothered either way. That felt like progress. I don't hate Patricia. I don't even resent her anymore. I just don't need her approval. For 16 years, I let her make me feel small. I let her assumptions define how I saw myself. But somewhere along the way, I realized that her opinion of me had nothing to do with my actual worth. She thought I was struggling because I didn't perform success the way she expected. She thought I needed help because I didn't broadcast my achievements. But success doesn't require an audience. And strength doesn't require validation. Emma's braces are off. Her teeth are straight. And I sleep well at night knowing I protected her treatment, her boundaries, and her right to have parents who make decisions in her best interest. Patricia learned that being a grandmother is a privilege, not a position of authority. And I learned that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let people underestimate you, right up until the moment you prove them wrong. So, did I go too far? Or not far enough? Tell me in the comments.